Hello, everyone. My name is Jolene Schaefer, and I'm the Marketing Coordinator for SWK Technologies. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, Paperless Office in Sage 100, presented by Aaron Oldacre of SWK Technologies. A little housekeeping before we get started. Everyone has been placed on mute to keep the background noise down. However, you can submit any questions you have throughout the webinar. To submit a question, look for the question section in your GoToWebinar. We will answer all questions at the end of the presentation. We are recording this presentation and it will be distributed tomorrow to all attendees, as well as to those who registered but were not able to attend. Please take a moment at the end of the presentation to answer our 2-question survey. With that said, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to attend our webinar. We're here to help you get the most out of your software solutions and help you find an easier way to run your business by providing you software and industry knowledge, tools, and support whenever you need it. So whether you're here doing research for a new solution or you're just here to learn, we'd like to encourage you to ask any questions throughout the webinar. Lastly, as a quick reminder, SWK is constantly sharing important updates and software tips and tricks on our social media channels, so we encourage you to follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Aaron.
Hi, thank you for that. Let me just share my screen here. Okay, can everyone see my screen? I got Paperless Office Webinar. Okay, So my name is Aaron Oldacre. I'm a senior consultant with SWK, and I'm going to go through Paperless Office and what it's going to do for you guys. Okay, so let's start off. First off, Paperless Office is going to be a standard feature, and this is in all of Sage 100 systems in pretty much in versions 4.3, way back to 4.3 and above. So this is going to give you the ability to PDF and save on documents and document management throughout your system. So we're going to go over how Sage Paperless Office saves you time, saves you money, and frustration. It's delivered and bundled within the product itself, so there's no extra charge to do things such as faxing and emailing of your documents that you use on a daily basis. Then we'll take a look at a demonstration of Paperless Office across multiple modules. We'll take a look at within the core modules, it goes across the whole system, such as accounts payable. We'll also look at within your distribution modules, AR, SO. So how can Paperless Office save you time, especially when it comes to things that you do on a regular basis, such as sending out statements to your customers, sending out sales order acknowledgments, bills of lading or sales order invoices that you mail out. So think of all the things that you do every day that comes to paper handling. So with Paperless Office, the savings go beyond just the paper itself. It's also the hardware, the printers and the copiers that you have to keep up to date and maintain, or the postage that you're paying to mail out those statements, customer invoices to your customers on an almost daily basis. Think of all the recycling and disposing, even the storage costs. Also, when you're with Sage 100, it's pretty much arguably has the best audit trails to reports and journals and registers. But because it has so many different reports and registers, that can add up to a lot of paper. I know you guys print out a lot of paper. A lot of time that's a lot of spending as well, filling out paperwork. So think of all the ways that you may put that paperwork away. You may put it in notebooks, you may put it in the filing cabinet, or you might even just put it in a box and store it in a locked office. But that takes time, and it takes expenses as well to pay for the rent on that actual paper that you're storing. So Paperless Office is designed to save all of that. It saves you the time it takes to file them away and store that information, as well as the paper savings itself and the space it takes. So Paperless Office is a secure method for generating and archiving your documents. And it does that through what is called a PDF converter that is built into Sage 100. So you can create your documents automatically in the background without having to do anything else besides your regular process of printing your documents, just when you post. It'll save it to a PDF and will make it available to you in a PDF paperless office viewer. So alternatively, your Crystal forms and your documents, such as your invoice forms that are saved or printed as a Crystal form, the document can be saved as a PDF as well, and then electronically delivered, and I'm going to show you all this, by email or faxed to your customer. And there's security on this, on several layers that's going to be built into Paperless Office as well, to make sure that only those users should be saving or accessing those reports. Registers, documents, and people that should access those properly can open those up or send them out. Paperless Office is going to allow you to email documents that I mentioned, but not just to your customers, but to your vendors. So you can email your purchase orders, your return orders to your vendors when you need to. This is going to save you time. Again, save you more time. You're not going to have to manually open up your email applications, such as Outlook, manually attach as a PDF or a Word document to your email. With Paperless Office, it's actually built in as email addresses are stored in the master file within your vendor maintenance and within your customer maintenance. I'll show you how you can store those and access those email addresses. And when you want to print your documents, you can add on the fly email addresses during that process. So if there's a sales order, so if there's a salesperson or a warehouse person you want to copy on that email, you can also add them to that particular order. And the same with job cost invoices and payroll direct deposit stubs or paychecks. Paperless Office reaches just about every module within Sage 100, and it makes it that much more useful. So everyone that is on the line, if you do not currently use Paperless Office, I would highly, highly encourage you to start using it if you're not already using this module. And there's a little bit of setup involved. I'm going to show you, but we can also always assist you guys if you need help, setting up the whole system. We can import and so forth if it's tedious work. Okay, so it's built in and it's very easy to set up and start using. They made it even easier in the current version. Paperless Office is available with public services such as Google, Yahoo, and Hotmail, Outlook services. This means you no longer have to maintain your own email server, but you have other options. And then the communication between the client and server can be encrypted, so it protects your sensitive company information, which is really important, I'm sure, for everyone out there. And then Microsoft Faxing is supported, so you don't have to go out and sign up for a faxing service. It uses the Microsoft Faxing engine that's built into Windows. So you can use the fax service driver built into your Microsoft Windows and utilize that for sending out your customer invoices, your customer statements, and so forth. So there's no additional charge then for the faxing functionality. There's just a little checkbox you would mark to say, I want to fax out this information. Paperless Office always saves the document to PDF. So whether it's a journal and register or whether it's a form you're printing out, you always will have a PDF that you can go back to. So if your customer calls you up and says, can I get that email resent to me or statement resent to me, you can go into your customer maintenance and click a button and have it resent the email or the fax. You can also have access within these PDF viewers to all the documents, whether they're internal documents, such as your journals and registers, which is really handy when it comes to audits. You don't have to go through paperwork. You can just pull it up in the Paperless Office PDF viewer. So think of all the pages and pages that's involved with all the sales journals, printing all that stuff out. You can still print it, but it's still going to save it out to the server with the Paperless Office PDF converter. So all that can be accessed in a PDF viewer so that different people in your office can see that information. It can be financial reports as well. So if you have a customized Crystal report or Crystal financial report, so you can make that visible to your managers or executives in the office. You're not having to actually print it out. You can distribute it manually, or you don't have to distribute it manually, to the different people in the office. It can go into the viewer or the ones you want to have access it through security and Sage, and then the documents and reports that they need to see. So it makes it a lot easier as far as distributing to reading these reports to the different employees and people in your office. And then external documents are sent out, and you can optionally print and email. PDFing automatically happens through the PDF converter. So you have the option to have some customers set up so they have a paper invoice sent, and then other customers can have their invoice emailed to them. So it works side by side. You can have a mix of some customers being electronic emailed, having electronic delivery, and then other customers can have just the regular paper printed invoice and have that occur depending on the setup. So this is what the Journal Register Viewer looks like. So the Journal and Register Viewer makes all this available so you can filter, sort by company, the module or the individual document itself. So within Paperless Office, you have this nice Journal and Register or period end viewer. And if you have multiple companies, it makes it easier when you need to pinpoint which journal or register or report you're looking for. You can sort it, by module. This is the Journal Register Viewer. I'll show you as we get into the demo, but there's also an employee viewer where you would find the employee checks and direct deposit slips, or a form viewer. So I'll show you there's multiple different kinds, not just the Journal and Register Viewer. So remember, all the reports, even if it's a customized Crystal report, can be available within the viewer. And then there's a built-in security through different layers. There's the standard Sage task security and role maintenance that you can set up so only certain users can view and access the report. Then there's a security event for deleting reports within the viewer, and then even documents that you send outside of Sage 100. For example, let's say you want to send your internal accounts receivable person a secure encrypted salesperson commission report. So you certainly don't want that commission report to be opened by anybody, right? So you can attach a password to the individual PDF document itself. So only with the password can the user open the report. So this is also useful for payroll documents such as the check register. So you can encrypt the Adobe document for opening. And I'll show you guys how you do that and what that means. You can also attach a document as well to any journal and register and view that in the Paperless Office viewer. So this is going to be very helpful for cutting down the amount of external documents that you receive. So most of you or all of you are going to be receiving in some way, usually through the mail, invoices from your vendors. A lot of you are going to file those away in filing cabinets with associated, source documents. You can now simply scan those invoices in and then simply attach it to an invoice register. So when you're entering in your invoices, you can print your invoice register and then attach the document. You can have 100 vendor invoices all in one document, let's say. You can use Adobe PDF to combine all those invoices into one single document and then attach that day's list of invoices to the invoice register. So it's all combined. It's all saved into Sage on the server, so it's easier to find. You don't have to go dig through, piles and piles of paper. So when you go back to look at the invoice register, you can see all the invoices that were paid with that batch of invoices and so forth. So that can be accessed at any time within the Journal and Register viewer. And you can be prompted when you actually print the AP register for that PDF. So it will go out and attach it and grab it. And I'll show you what that means. And when we have some customers that actually we have some customers that use like a high-speed scanner to scan tons of information in. So it's like a copy machine pretty much, and it will copy it and it will scan it in, combine it into a single PDF. And then you no longer have a file, the paper invoice that you received from your vendors. You'll have just one PDF that you can attach to that register. So that over time, this will take up a lot of room in filing cabinets, right? It's all about reducing paper, not just the paper that Sage generates, but also the paper that you're receiving from your vendors as well. So all those AP invoices take up room in notebooks and filing cabinets and boxes. So we want to give you a way or an option to reduce all of that clutter and simply just streamline everything in electronic format. And then give you easy access at your fingertips to that information anytime you need it. And the Paperless Office viewer will give you the ability to do that. So now I'm going to jump into a demo of kind of how to set this up. Let's switch over to Sage. There we go. I'll minimize this. I don't know what that is. One second. Okay, so we're in Sage. So one of the first things you want to do, I'm going to just show you quickly, how to kind of set it up, because there's a few steps for setting it up. You'll need your IT person or someone that knows your SMTP settings. So you'll want to go into Library Master, Company Maintenance, pick your company code, and there's this email tab. Now, I haven't set one up yet, but you'll want to get like your address, your port number, take a screenshot of this information, user ID, domain, password, and then accept your test email just to make sure that this is all working and it's pushing through to your email SMTP settings. One thing that it's not going to do is when you send out an email, let's say you send an email out through, to a vendor, it's not going to send a send copy on your email address. Like, let's say you send it through Gmail. Let's say you send it through Outlook. You're not going to get it in your email box that says outbox shows you sent this email to Joe Schmo, okay? You're not going to get that. It's going to just go out directly from Sage. So that's the first thing you need to do. So I would send this out to your IT and have them fill this out and get this information. That's the first step you have to do. Then what you would do is you would go into Paperless Office. And this is where you would do most of the setups, okay? The first one is obviously under the setup folder. And what you want to do is you want to check off at least these four top checkboxes. The bottom ones just means load data on initial viewer access. You don't have to check those off because as you start to accumulate a ton of files, you don't want to just load all the files at once. So that's if you want to load them or if you don't want to load them. Okay, now you've enabled Paperless Office. Next, we have a few different setups here with Journal Register, Period End Reports, Report Maintenance, Form Maintenance, and Electronic Delivery. So let's go down the list. The first one we have is Journal and Register Maintenance. You pick a company code. I'm just going to show you because I've already set up a few. You pick a company code. So I picked ABC Company. You pick a module code. You can pick any module you want. You can divide, you can say all modules. You can say all documents. You can pick specific documents. You have to have a PDF directory. So there has to be a folder out there that exists. I usually just call it paperless under, the Sage folder or something. paperless or PDF. You can say auto create PDF. You can say you want to prompt it or you don't want to auto create it. You can say password protect. This is where you can say you would password protect it. So you can say either prompt or you can protect that file. So the next one we look at, I'll show you where I password protected it. Now this is where you're going to prompt someone. So when we do accounts payable, all documents, I want it to prompt me to add an associated PDF when running a journal or a register printing. So I checked that box off. And you'll see that when we actually post something. So delete associated PDF when journal register is deleted in viewer. I'm just going to say prompt. And then you have to also type in associated PDF directory. So mine is just attachments. This is where your images or your PDFs are going to go that are going to be the attachments to that journal and register. So I'm going to click accept. The next one that I created was all companies. This is what I usually do for pretty much all my setups. I do all companies, all modules, all because it's all going to go eventually to a viewer. You're not going to go onto the server. You're just going to put it in the viewer where you can go find it and sort it anyway. PDF directory, same thing, auto create, and so forth. This one I do not have a prompt me for a register viewer. The reason I'm doing that because it is annoying. It does pop up every time you go and you try to do a register or you try to do when you print a register viewer. You don't want it to prompt up and then it's extra clicks. The only reason I did that other AP one was because when I do run my AP invoice, I wanted to prompt me and say, do you have any attachments? And then I would say yes or no. Okay. So those are my journal and registers. Period end. Not a lot of people do this, but you can. If you run your period end report, same thing. I did the exact same thing. All companies, PDF directory, same location, auto create, yes, password protect, no. You can password protect if you choose to. Those are your period end reports. So when you do period end close, all those reports would be saved out. Instead of you printing them out, they would be saved out to Paperless Office. So you have, them in your journal register viewer. Okay, now report maintenance is going to be if you want to save any of the reports. So this may come in handy if you have custom reports, or as I mentioned before, the salesperson commission report. So here I have the salesperson commission report. I chose company ABC, I chose the module AR, and the report I specifically chose was AR salesperson commission report. And so now it's going to the same location, okay? And you can block this location so no one can access it necessarily if they go onto the server, but then I'm going to say password protect, yes. So now I'm going to password protect it. I typed in my password, I confirmed the password. So no one can access this report unless they have that password. So there's the ability for security events there. You can set up the security. Now, form maintenance. This is where you're going to come into emailing stuff, okay? This is where you're going to come into multiple forms of emailing. So we're going to start off, I only did probably one or two. I only did one. So I did all companies at first. I just wanted all of them to be electronic delivered. We can do one together. Enable electronic delivery from email address, PDF file name, I want the full description. You can just say document number, I want the full description. The directory, and then you have to have a password. This is just going to be for AP checks, payroll checks, and AP checks that you send out, because it's going to make a copy of those and keep watermark valid check and employee password and so forth. So let's go to, here's my payroll checks. I did module code, all documents, so both checks and direct deposits. I enabled electronic delivery. This opens up a field. Just checking off this box will open up a field in employee maintenance. Email address, this is where the from email address is going to come from. Here's my PDF directory. Here's my password for me to change anything. Now here, down here, payroll checks and direct deposit stubs. This is security so that when they get emailed, when an employee gets emailed, I want to have a password set up so that when that employee, if an employee opens up their direct deposit or their paycheck, they have to enter in a password. Their password can either be blank, random they would choose, or their social security number. I just chose social security number. So let me show you how easy this is to set up. So let's go back to form maintenance. So for example, let's set up a new one. So let's do ABC company, and we're going to do sales orders, and it gives me all the sales orders. So I'm going to do an order, enable electronic delivery, PDF name, full description, that works. PDF storage, I'm going to have to get that actually. If you don't have the right one, it's going to end it, or it won't allow it. So just give me one moment. Let's steal that. Location. Let's see. Okay, so our module is sales order because I want to send out my sales orders electronically. And my from email address can be anything. And you can change it. This is where you would change it. PDF storage, because remember, it's storing everything. It's storing everything just so that later, at a later date, you can come back in here and you can resend it. Override password. You have to enter an override password here. And we don't need to do anything there. So this is just setting it up so that we're enabling electronic delivery for sales orders. Okay, so we have set up form maintenance, report maintenance, etc. Now this last one is where you would set up what the email is going to say. And this is really up to you. So here's where you would say, okay, document type. So this is a general, let's say we're emailing. This is just general, what they're going to give you out of the box. It's going to tell you company code, document type, and then it's going to say subject, and it's say attached, and you have merge fields over here where you can put in, you know, customer name, document date, and then you can type whatever information you want. This is a new feature here with 2019 where you have the ability to do bold, italic, where you can change the font, you can change the size. This is new. In previous versions, you did not have that ability. You were only able to type in standard text. You didn't have the ability to change anything or add pictures or add images or even add in attachments, okay? So 2019, I was able to do this. So I just said, okay, customer name is a merge field. Please find your attached document, document date, and then I just put like a little signature thing, just, quick, just to kind of show you what that would look at, since we have these new fields available. But you would write an email, and then you can say from sales department, please contact, etc., whatever you would want to type in here. So this is just the form, this is just the general message that's going to go out to, let's say, AR statement. So you would set one up for your SO sales order forms. So when you send out that sales order form, that's what it's going to look like. And so you can do this with every single form, or you can do this with just all the forms all together. And so that's going to be under Paperless Office, Setup, Electronic Delivery. And I know it seems like there's a lot of steps and we're kind of going all over the place, but remember, we can guide you through this, okay? So now let's go to accounts receivable. So now we have to set up, the customer needs to know that it is a electronic delivery. You want to email out electronic delivery. You want to email out to this customer any sales orders or any vendors or what you want to do. So now that you've set up Paperless Office, you now have a button that opens up now. Just because you checked off that box, you now have this Paperless Office button that's open. I'm going to click on it. This is what's popped up. So now I can pick any of these that I want. Well, I've set up SO order, so I'm going to say, okay, SO order. So I can say, okay, I want to print it. I want to email it. I want to email it only. You can set up a password for this customer only. This customer has to always type in, their specific password to get this order. Then they have this email. You can choose. There's multiple options here you can choose. I set them up just to show examples. These are all coming in blank usually. You can use the email address and data entry. So there's a box in sales order entry that you can just type in an email address. You can use that. You can use the customer email address on the customer page, which is Artie, okay, You can use a contact code, there's multiple contact codes that have been set up. You can just click on one. And if you notice, this is also part of 2019 release. Now you can say carbon copy or blind copy, BCC/CC, okay? You didn't have that feature before. It was only 2. You could only send it 2. Now also you can do additional email addresses. This is where people would put like their warehouse person or their sales person or the manager or their sales at abc.com type email address, and you could CC it there. And it's the same thing. You can blind copy or carbon copy. So this is where you would set that up. If you wanted to do faxing, you could, but faxing wasn't turned on here. So we have set up emailing for this customer number for sales orders. Now, not the hard part, the tedious part is getting email addresses. Luckily, there's email addresses in here, but a lot of these customers, you may have thousands of customers, do not have email addresses in here. And you don't want to have to go through and click all of these and say email checkbox, email checkbox. There is a way we can import that. It's a little trickier, but we can talk about that. There's a way you can import that, okay? So that's kind of a separate project, but just so you know. So that's going to be the same thing with vendors. You're going to have to put an email address in there, turn on the email under Paperless Office so that you have the ability to tell it that you want to email out their invoices or their purchase orders or their sales orders or anything like that. Even when it comes to employees, So employees, you would do the same thing. You would have to enter in an email address. And this payroll isn't set up in this company yet. But there is a place in employee maintenance where you put in an email address and you can say, this is for electronic delivery. Now that we've got some email addresses in there, let's go and email out a sales order. Now remember, I did not have my SMTP set up yet because my IT person didn't provide me my SMTP settings, but I'll go as far as we can. So we're going to go to sales order entry. We're going to create a sales order. We're going to create it for cancel. Yes, I want to. So this customer, we have an email address, right? We've got that email address in there, and we told it that it's going to be paperless office, right? We told it we want it to be paperless office already. So let's go here. Let's order a few things. Let's order one thing. Doesn't matter what it is. Okay. Now, when we come to go and print, I want to save changes. When we come to go and print, this is where you'll have a new field that opens up. Paperless office output. So here, before you wouldn't see this field. Now, when you do the drop down, now you see additional fields. You'll print all. You can say electronic delivery only, print, PDF, etc., etc., etc. PDF all. You could just say PDF them all and just store them in the database and on the server, right? If you want electronic delivery only, you can say electronic delivery only. And then all you would say would be print. Now, the reason it's saying all is because you could have a group of sales orders, right? You could have a group. Some could be printable, some could be electronic delivery, and it will do all of them based on if they're printable or if they're electronic delivery. So based on what is set up in the customer or vendor file, that's what it's going to do. So I'm going to just say electronic delivery. And I got an error because I don't have SMTP set up, or the password is incorrect. Okay, but usually it will tell you something like this: number of attempts, number of successful emails. Okay, so if it's attempted emails 3, successful emails 3, you're good to go. Okay, so that's pretty much the drift of sending out the emails to the customer, sending out the emailing of those. Okay, so now what I wanted to show you is the journal and register. Let's go into Paperless Office, journal and register. Okay, so here's all the postings. So it tells me company. I can search by company code. I can say, oh, I'm looking for this company code. I can search by module code, right? I can search for a specific, I want to look for AP stuff. I want to look for this manual check. if there was an associated PDF assigned to it, it would be over there. So let's go and look at GL. And so now here is that exact journal entry that usually I would print out and file it somewhere. But now I have it in PDF format, and if I need it, I can print it at this time, but it's saved out there. So all I have to do is search for it. Journal number, module, posting date, because I can search by the posting date. It tells you when the PDF was created. It actually tells you who was the login user, who was the one who posted it. Okay, so that's pretty nice. Now let's go into AP. I am going to do invoice because I did a attachment. I asked for an attachment. Okay, invoice data entry. Invoice number. There we go. 100. Looks good, looks good, looks good. Looks good. Okay, I clicked print. And this is the box that popped up. Remember in setup when I said I want to have it to say associated PDF? So this is the pop-up that's always going to come up when I click print. It's going to say, do you have an associated PDF? This is where it's going to be stored. And what's the PDF name? And I don't have anything stored in there yet. Let's put something in it. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so now here, associated PDF directory, that's where it is going to hold all of my attachments. So whatever attachment I want, let's say it's my PDF of all my invoices that are going to go along with this specific invoice, I'm going to go here and I'm going to say, okay, PDF and all files. So now I have this file that's out there. Oh, it's not a PDF document. Okay, so it has to be PDF. So we got to convert it to PDF. I'm just going to do this real quick just so we can pull it up. Okay. So here's a PDF file. There's a preview of it. I'm going to open that up. We're going to say OK. It's now attached, showing it's attaching it. Do you want to update the invoice register? Yes, I do. Do you want to print the daily transaction? Yes, I do. Print, print, print. If I don't have any attachments, I can just click cancel. I'm not forced to do anything here. And it's updated. Okay, so now let's go into Paperless Office, Journal Register Viewer, Invoice Register, So now if you look at associated PDF location, so here's my PDF location. Here's my accounts payable invoice register. And then if you keep scrolling, here's my associated PDF location. And that was just, I just attached a PDF. It could have been a picture or something, but pretty much it tells you there is an associated PDF and here is where you access it, okay? So it will show you that there is an associated PDF according to it. So that's where you would get your list of a bunch of different invoices from your vendors and so forth, and you can open it and find what's attached to it, okay? So that's kind of where it would show up. And I think that's all that I have with the paperless office. Do you guys have any questions? Let's go back to this guy. Do you want to open it up and see if there's any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Erin. We'll now open it up for questions. If you have any questions, please enter them into the questions section of your GoToWebinar, and we'll give that a minute in case any come through. And just a reminder, everyone, we do have a subject matter expert here. This is a great opportunity to have your questions answered in real time. It looks like we do have one that came through. Can a journal or register be automatically emailed when updating that register instead of having to go to the viewer afterwards to send via paperless?
When a journal or register, or are you talking about a report?
It says journal or register.
You can't email a journal or register, but you can email a report or a form instantly. You typically wouldn't want to email a journal or register.
Okay, yep, and we did get clarification that is a register, not a report. And then we have another one that came through. How do you set it up if there are several different emails for an AP client? How do you select the different emails?
Oh, under contact codes? So let me actually go back in here. So under AP, if there's so if you want to send out the same SO, if you want to send out the same AP invoice to multiple clients or to multiple people within a client, I'm assuming multiple people within a client, you can go in here and you can go to, this is not, under contact codes, you can set up a list of contact codes and you can choose as many contacts as you want to send out to. You can go on and on, or you can type them in as well. Does that answer the question?
I believe so. I'll let you know if I hear otherwise. And then we have another one that came through. Will this be available to view again, the webinar that is? Yes, this will be sent out. The recorded webinar will be sent out by end of day tomorrow to all those that attended and those that registered but were not able to attend. And then we have another one. And I have paperless office set up for period end. However, I can't find out where the documents are going and it's not the path that I have selected.
So you want to go into paperless office and you want to first check paperless office here and double check this path. So click on that path and open it up in like a window to make sure that there's files in there, but you should be able to go to period end report viewer. Maybe they were looking in journal and register viewer, but there's a whole separate viewer for period end. And this is where all of the different period end files are going to go to, rather than journal and register viewer. Maybe that's where they weren't looking at. Could that be the case? If not, if that's not correct, then I would do period end maintenance, and I would take PDF directory, copy it, and just go to an open window and paste it, and make sure that there's something in that folder. And if we're still having trouble, maybe reach out to me and we could probably figure it out within 15 minutes. Does that work?
Perfect. I think that works great. And that's all the questions that I've seen come through. So thank you so much, Erin, for your informative presentation and for taking the time to be here today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks. I hope everyone else does too.
Thank you.